Onia yam bonra political highways num ejedema enya aksam kuto akra na eko Dr. Bawumia asweye na ejegu ni chemu eneduye yi a onia yajemra yidibi exum wo agenda so ewo TV3 ena mena okasei NDC communication team member ŁRRRSTEÈ Bawumia akose financial loss to the state to the tune of 1.1 million Ghana cedi onia ninyina national asset bi te se electricity omu epeja edema PDS eno kofa sa eka no eba ya onia omu ajemre na omu eboyi nchiremu efasase musie hu na yensemre ebobo ewrem na ehwe ne yeko ene de eba hye so am say aha age politics avenue ene edi kanya subscribe to the channel.
Significant in terms of generation, that is a matter of fact. As far as transmission and distribution is concerned, what they gave us is PDS. You are now talking about Bawumia, thinking about taking us on a solar drive where everybody would have a battery and all of that. And it is this same, you see, part of the problem we are facing today is as a result of Dr. Bawumia handing over a national asset like ECG to PDS, as a result of which we lost 1.1 billion Ghana cedis, as a result of which we lost 90 million Ghana cedis that the Millennium Compact account was given to us to upgrade our transmission line. So if you bring Dr. Bawumia in the equation, I think you are trivializing this whole argument. If there is anybody we need to hold responsible for the lack of investment under MPP, I think Bawumia is one. And this and you see, you would laugh. You would laugh. It is because it was Dr. Bawumia who turned a bank guarantee, which was supposed to be an a condition precedent, to an insurance guarantee, which later turned out even to be fake. Which turned out later to be fraudulent, as confirmed by Al-Kut. You don't know about that? Yes. You don't know about that? It was a committee chaired by Dr. So the point is that the MPP did not make any significant investment in the energy sector is a fact. Okay. The NDC came in to make to meet a very terrible situation in terms of a 1.5 million debt OIPCs which have been settled. The MPP came in to meet a system that has not been upgraded for a long time. And we introduced the transformer upgrade program, which is presently ongoing. So we urge Ghanaians to bear with us. The problem we are facing will not last. It is something that is under control. The Ministry of Energy has its hands around it. And you see, when Alfred was talking, he said under President Kufuor, there was no doom, so there was intermittent power supply. But one of the few moments that we've had proper doom, evidenced by a timetable from ECG was under President Kufuor. During his 8 years, we had doom for 3 years. So if you come here and say under President Kufuor, there was no doom, you see, people will not take you serious. Anybody that lived that moment will not take you that serious. Right. So the point is that we came to meet a terrible situation. We are not lamenting as the MPP will do. We are fixing it, and we will fix it.
Okay. Doc.
Thank you. If after almost 1.5 years in office, after reading 2 budgets, presenting 2 State of the Nation addresses, you are still blaming your woes and pathologies in any sector on the previous government, you are a massive failure.
Thank you.
1. 2, despite all the panting and the ranting from Solo, there is absolutely no chivalry or anything within the energy sector. If they were, by now we would have seen it. There's nothing there. And I like the fact that any opportunity, you like to buy the hand that fed you for 8 years, Solomon, or for 6 years. Keep on doing that. One day it will come. Okay? You want to sit here and tell me that Alan was an angel in the MPP. Meanwhile, all this Alan was a senior cabinet member, sat in the economic decisions, that at any opportunity you want to what? Cover him so that he looks like an angel, whilst you want to blame somebody else. Solomon, it's not going to happen. And look, finally, I want to make some point because we need to keep this things like that. On the one hand, you are saying that they didn't make any major investment. But I tell you what is major. Define major. I tell my students, define your concepts. When you say major investment, first it was that they didn't make any investment. Then we have been told that they were changing wires. Now, I am not, but I know that if you are changing wires to good wires, it's an investment, right? 2, they were also told that they imported transformers. Transformers too is an investment. Now, if our issue, I heard my brother admit that we have a transmission problem. How do you address transmission problem? By the wires and by the transformers. So if that was identified, or if that is identified as the core problem, and you are saying that the previous government did invest in these areas, how then do you now jump from that to go and say they didn't make any major investments? But look, Akabele, there's something that will happen in this country, and there's something that we need to do. We need to have a timeline on when you can blame the former government for your woes and pathologies. Because when you come in and you tell me that the whole of 2025, that the sector was stable, you took credit for that.
Okay.
When fuel prices are going down, you take credit for that. When what's the name? Dollar is going down, you take credit for that. So on the one hand, you are telling us that in 1 year you've been able to achieve all these things, and we should clap for you. We should praise you. We should sing your hosannas and hallelujahs for what you have done in your name. You have transformed the economy in 1 year. I want you to understand that narrative. You understand that.
Yeah.
In 1 year, you said, I have done all these things. But in the same time, well, the 1 year is not enough to also do these things. So praise us for all these things we've done for 1 year. But when it comes to this one, yeah, blame the APP. Hypocrites. It's not fair to do that.
Okay.
Because if we give politicians the time, you will go to December 2028, they will still tell you to blame APP for all their woes and pathologies. Yeah. It's not fair. We are not going to allow that to happen here. Okay.
No. Solo.
Very interesting. You see, there was a reason why I asked you to pause Alfred from further embarrassing himself based on the data that he was changing. He was misleading the people of this country. First of all, even on the issue of the missing containers, I heard Afenyo himself, Afenyo Martins, who was the board chair of ECG, collaborate the position of the energy minister that yes, indeed, it was a normal thing that happened at the electricity company of Ghana. They buy containers, it gets missing. So if you, Alfred, it's the same reason why Kenofurata sacked you. If you allow Kenofurata to sack you, it means you are so incompetent. You see, Ken himself was incompetent. When we are talking, allow us to make the point.
Your trade minister was competent, so he stayed for 7 years.
Oh!
Enjoyed.
Solo, go ahead.
You see, we are discussing energy ministry. Your incompetence got you out. Someone said that. So that one, there is no need for us to
What got Alan out?
Allah, he resigned from the. He
had the ideas. He had the ideas for
He gave you the ideas. These people,
Go ahead.
they were rot in opposition. These people,
Go ahead.
they don't even know how to deal in opposition.
So we understand. Yes, so we are incumbent.
So clearly,
That's your incumbent material.
the issue that we are discussing, I'm not too sure. I have sat here and said that this government is not responsible. But whether they like it or not, it is within their regime, and so they must fix it. You understand? But what I have said here, and I will never allow it to happen so long as I am alive, is to see or hear from incompetent two MPP people, Zato and Alfred, create the impression as though they did something serious. Zato is an MPP.
Go ahead.
You understand? So, we matter. Again, when he still he says, oh, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was the sitting vice president, had promised that given the opportunity, he would reduce electricity and make it as it was stable. Whereas he was the vice president. And when you pushed him but he was imposed. No. Are you in charge? Let's go into the oath that the president and the vice president's voice.
Okay, let's do that.
There's nothing different between the president and the vice president. It is the reason why the vice president have you.
The current vice president, Professor Jenana.
Of course, but who told you she's immune from that?
Maybe that is why she's polling so badly in the APP race. Maybe that is why she's polling so insignificantly in the APP race.
The office of the president ticket. The presidential ticket.
Yes.
This trick, I know it has.
I'm telling you that now. Because if you also say that we should blame Professor General Pokonana. That is what probably
I'll take it from them.
Just continue talking. That's what happened.
Yeah, he's getting things for him.
So the president and the vice president, they swear to one oath. That oath makes that ticket one.
That's his lawyer.
As a matter of fact, when we are going into any major election, the running mate, have you ever seen the running mate's picture on a ballot? But why is that when we vote for the candidate and he wins, automatically the running mate becomes the vice president? It means the two of you are one. So this business of our attempt of trying to take out Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia from the incompetence of your administration, if I were Nana Akufo-Addo, I would be so sad wherever I am. That deliberately a vice president that I worked with, that at a point that Nana Addo came to tell us that in his darkest moment, the very person that he confides with, strategized with, that Bawumia will come today through his assigns like Zato and then Alfred to come and
We should blame Professor
I am going to elect myself
in the central region. They don't have water. We should blame the vice president, right? We should do that, right? We should blame the sitting vice president for that, right? We should blame the vice president for that. We should do that, right? We should blame himself. No, we should blame the vice president.
He did for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But for Nana Akufo-Addo, who is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? And the man does all these things for you, and today you have the nerve to come and sit here that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was so in charge. When he had told you that when it came to digitalization, he was in charge. When it came to what? NHI, he was in charge. He single-handedly implemented 33 policies. Did he implement those 33 policies when he was sleeping, or where was he? What are we talking about here?
Okay. Mr. Thompson, I'll give you the final word briefly.
I'm so glad. And I'll quickly state the megawatts Nana Addo added onto the grid. But before I do that, let me state and let it be on record. Under no circumstances has Bawumia distanced himself
But that's what
from
you did.
the administration of Nana Addo.
Why were you asking that cabinet that question? Now you interjected me. You are so
This is not from the Backman. I am
look at that.
under no circumstances has Dr. Bawumia distanced himself from Nana Addo. Listen, they work together.
You are destroying my
They
show.
work together.
Allow people to talk. In fact, the first and second take.
They work together, and I'm very proud to be a member of Nana Addo's government, where we made sure that there were certain things we put in place. Now, when you look at his generation mix, he added, and this one you can just Google it and you'll get it. President Akufo-Addo's administration has added hundreds of megawatts to Ghana's national grid through various projects.
Hundreds of megawatts is very broad. I mean, hundreds of megawatts. Okay,
I'm giving you the breakdown.
So go ahead.
My brother.
No, go ahead. Yes,
are you trying to be like this is solo?
I'm asking a question. I'm asking you to clarify. So it's yours to answer.
So now, you have the bridge power plant at Pong, the 200 megawatts that was commissioned under Nana Addo. When you go to Kalio Solar Power Project, you have the phase 1 and the phase 2. Kalio, yes. The phase 1, he had a 13 megawatts in 2022 and in another 15 megawatts in 2024.
So less than
making a total,
we are listening.
Making a total of 28 megawatts. Okay. Then you go to the bridge power plant at Pong. You commission a 200 megawatts plant.
You've mentioned that already.
So you go to Laura Solar Plant. You had the A6, the 6 megawatt solar plant project in the Upper West. Then you remember that he did the buoy, that's the floating water, that's the buoy. Why are you?
No, Mr. Thompson, go ahead. Mr. Thompson, go ahead.
He did the buoy, water, that's the solar, floating solar water.
How many megawatts?
Which he's added on to the.
How many?
Now, when you look at that, you said he hasn't added in
400 megawatts in 8 years. Muhammad did 2,500 megawatts in 4 years. This is what we are talking about. You see, this is what we are talking about.
Are you disputing the figures you've put out? It doesn't even come up to 300 megawatts.
Yes, in 8 years.
You said I am proving to you. Yes, I am proving to you that even the little that I can just Google.
In 8 years, less than 300. In 8 years, less than 300.
Let me finish by coming to. You know this guy, when he's talking, sometimes I ask myself, is he in Ghana or because he's under the pay of certain people, so sometimes he does certain things that you know before what do you call it, before ECG went digitalization, you know how much they were getting in revenue? The highest at that time was 450 million Ghana cedis. Now in 2023, when they went digital under Dr. Bawumia when he was saying it, and they were insulting him. And today they can sit here and say that he's a thief. Under his thievery, the revenue grew from please. Right? Go Google.
I want to check because
Google.
You are going to lie. So I know.
The revenue grew. The revenue grew from 450,000 and 450 million to 1.2 billion.
It's not true. What period?
That is it there.
What period?
That is it. 2023.
No, they showed me.
2023. Monthly revenue increased to around 1.2 billion. Today, as we sit here, 2025. That is talking. 2025.
They never achieved that.
Peak performance 2025. As you said, it's 1.7 billion. And you're asking me that, am I shocked? I'm not shocked.
You are shocked.
Because someone used common sense and brains, and even under challenging circumstances, decided that, listen, let us go this way. Because one thing I love about Dr. Bawumia, and I always say it, that one day when I sat down with him and I said, listen, some of this and that you are always complaining about.
For national
there's a TV here, there's TV there, there's this thing here, there's that thing here. He said, listen, it's not the change of the people that matters. Because I can change Solo, who is trouble, and go and bring another person. The person might even be worse than Solo. Okay. But we need to make sure that we digitalize the system. And make sure that when you do that, you are able to block some of the loopholes that are here.
What did you do?
They insulted him that he didn't know what he was doing.
What specifically did you do?
All right.
Specifically.
Yes, so,
digitalization is a
what did Alan do? What did Alan do?
If you want me to
what we are going to do now is that's all the time would allow for the conversation.
But you didn't make me land.
On the
you have landed long ago. You started.
You didn't make me land. I was just doing this.
So what we are going to do is that we are going to briefly do just some short few seconds on the second topic that we earmarked to discuss. It's a report that has been put out by a US-based analytic institute that indicates that Ghana risks losing up to 67% of its youth to foreign countries. And if you look at the data that they put out in terms of the ranking, we are up there. I think we are number 3 actually. So Sierra Leone first. In terms of the exodus, people leaving the country, 81% Sierra Leone, Liberia 79%, and Ghana risk losing 67% as well. And so, I mean, it cannot be acceptable that some of our finest brains, for whatever reasons, whether you want to call it push or pull factors, decide to leave the country and seek greener pastures elsewhere. And so that is what has been looked at out of 106 countries. That is what they have on your screen. And I'll just do brief comments around the table quickly, straight to the point, and we'll wrap up. So I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty straightforward, but better the economic conditions back home, give the youth the assurance that they can have jobs. There are a lot of youth that were told that go to school, get your university degree, after that you'll be employed. They obeyed their parents, they obeyed society, they went to universities, they are done with university and they are home. One of the most demeaning things to ever encounter a human being is to wake up and don't know where to find the next available meal or where you are going to work. So to that extent, you would always get the situation. I believe that our policies that we are implementing must be long-term in nature, must be sustainable. We must have a data. I don't think, if you scan through almost all the critical websites, you don't seem to find the real numbers in terms of unemployment, even with the youth.
There are numbers.
We need to do that, get the real data. And it's out of this data that we can plan sustainable. How many of our youth want to be in, entrepreneurship? How many of them want to work in the public sector? How many of them want to be in the private sector? At the end of the day, there has to be this information. Again, we of the UP had said that it was difficult to was not right to be transitioning students from secondary school right away to university. What plans do we have in place to give them training, apprenticeship? Because now, whether you like it or not, it is evidently clear that this grammar education or over concentration on humanities is not what the system needs now. The system needs skilled personnel. You need seamstresses, you need hairdressers, you need welders, you need carpenters, you need electricians, you need people with the IT backgrounds. But we are lacking there people that are painters. In this country, a lot of the painters are coming from Togo and Benin. What is so difficult for the Ghanaian to enter that space? But in all the
we ain't some who team course or channel so. Mamma knows so Jim Ray, that's an so body, they are doing be Edomania. Only a bessentia, not your small question.